Well, hello there. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently, right now, this very second, tuning into the CultPop podcast live stream, aka Spoiler Alert. It's the name of the show, episode 763, wherein we will review this past week's books, a couple of them, a smattering, a skosh, a driblet of comics, a sousson of comics. As well as talk about some fun pop culture topics. Maybe we listen. There's no track, right? I would say we gotta try to keep things on track, but there's no track. There's no spoon either, from what I'm told. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, PA. It's a super rad shop which caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes and sizes, except jerks. Tonight, joining me this evening, is Brian Lieb and Noel Bartocci. Sup, fellas? Brian!
Hey!
What did you think of Eternals?
I wasn't that into it, and I was very disappointed that I wasn't that into it. Like, I was really looking forward to it, right? And there was a lot of stuff that I thought was cool, but I was a little bored by the end, unfortunately. Like, by the time I reached the end, you know what I mean? Like, I was bored. And I thought the whole thing with the deviant that absorbed the powers, I was like, well, that didn't really go much of anywhere. That's a shame. And I felt that you guys will not be surprised to learn that I wasn't too happy about the twist with Icarus, right? I was looking forward to him being around. But also, I felt like the overall twist of who was good and who was not was felt like a retread of Captain Marvel and was done much more effectively in Captain Marvel. With the Skrulls. I thought that was really cool, and this just felt like kind of the same thing again. So
that did not occur to me when you were telling me that earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like the group that you thought was bad. In the case of Captain Marvel, I think mostly because we were coming into it from the comics.
Yeah.
And the Skrulls are often bad guys, if not usually bad guys. I don't remember how much they made you think that in the actual movie, other than maybe just these shapeshifters are hiding among us and we're
conditioned to think that shapeshifters are bad, right? Yeah.
Right. Like it could be anyone, right? And it turned out that they were not the bad guys. They were the ones that were being hunted. And a very similar thing was the case in Eternals. Yeah. Spoiler for two movies.
In Eternals, though, it wasn't clear. So I really liked are we spoiling? Sorry, I dropped out for a second.
Yeah. That's okay.
So. Yeah.
The major turn of one of the characters betraying blah, 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 I really, really enjoyed. But as soon as that happened, the antagonist of the movie disappears.
Yeah.
And then comes back confusingly. Like, why is the deviant fighting on the same side as the person who is trying to wipe them out by the emergence? Like, there was no clear reason why the deviant just like stood next to X character to fight the other Eternals. And you're like, if anything, the enemy of my enemy is your friend, so you should all go against this one. But it was if you think about it for more than like 5 minutes, it just becomes kind of confounding. But still enjoyed it.
He also, come to think of it, the Celestial being eliminated would be more in line with what the Deviant seemed to want all along.
Yeah, but, that's what I mean. Like why are you fighting?
Goal. Yeah.
Why are you fighting these ones who are actually like at that point in the movie? I thought it was going to be like Deviants and Eternals working together because Earth and humanity are more special. But it was just like, I'm fighting with this guy now, fuckers. And you're like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to kill you. What's happening? That
I didn't get that out of it. I've only watched it the once. and I might have missed it. But my takeaway from that is that it was just a free for all. They weren't like teaming up to beat the Eternals. It was the Eternals were trying to beat both of those things together. Do you know what I mean?
If that is the case, the deviant motivation was still not really that strongly laid out. You know, like their plan. What was their plan, and did it come to fruition or not?
Right.
Well, he didn't. Again, I think it's a good turn, so I don't want to spoil it. But the deviant in no way attacked newly discovered bad guy.
Yeah,
he just stood next to him, and started fighting everyone else. I'm not saying that there was like they high-fived each other and have been in league the whole time, or they had a quick conversation like, "Let's do this, fuck these guys, and then we'll fight." Like it was just appeared 4 people fighting 2 now. Like so, it was it was just a little messy. It was messy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I also felt their explanation for not having. Though. Yeah. Well, good. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next one.
I still liked it. Yeah.
I'm holding out some hope that character can return in one of the other. There may or may not be multiple sets of these people around. I don't know.
There are, and there's more than just those 10 too.
See, that was my question. Like, are there multiple sets of those 10 and other ones, or is it just other ones?
Both. So there's multiple sets of those 10, but there's also multiple sets of a bunch of others, and for each experiment, for each petri dish, the Celestial will pick a specific permutation
like
of
a set of the that makes sense. Yeah.
So
like
for
whatever's
this
needed for that,
for this Celestial seed, it was these 10. That's why in the end credit sequence you met another Eternal,
right? Who I was interested and kind of surprised to find them linked to the character that they did, even though in the comics that is the case. So what did you guys think about their reasoning for not involving themselves in the fight with Thanos? I didn't think it made any sense at all.
I actually think it tracks in regards to their motivations in the movie. Like their motivations are to only ever take orders explicitly from blah, right? And it was
that makes sense. That is the only way that I could see. We'll be done momentarily. Mars Comics, who has not yet watched it, so she's got us on mute. We'll try to do like a jazz hands or something.
We'll message you when we're done.
Yeah. So my feeling about why they didn't get involved with Thanos was that is a reasonable explanation, right? Like they only act if a Celestial says something, but their goal, and you would think the Celestial might even involve himself, was to increase the amount of sentient life on not only that planet, but in a larger sense, the universe. And Thanos set their clock back however many thousands of years. You would think they would be the first ones to get involved in that,
Well, so how many people actually knew what Thanos was up to other than the people explicitly involved in the conflict? So Thanos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thanos came down to Earth, and people who happened to be on that city block got involved, or within that city got involved. Everybody else, I think, was scattered to the 4 winds. So it's, and
true. And the Eternals
no one knew to go to Wakanda. Why would they know to go to Wakanda? The spaceship left, right? Yeah. So they may have been like, "Hey, where'd that spaceship? Oh, it's gone."
That's a good point.
Anyway, let's go back to dinner. Yeah. So I mean, that doesn't bother me too much. Tony Stark has a breakdown in Endgame where he's like telling Cap, "You weren't there. You said we would be there, and you weren't there." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're clearly like he's obviously delirious, right? He's in a delirium of some sort because there's no way Cap would have known to get on that spaceship with you that you hitched a ride on the very last second."
I thought he was talking about in a less literal way, like the Avengers broke up. And you told me earlier we would always stick together and protect things.
Yeah, but also Tony's the one who didn't call him.
Well, yeah.
He's like, I don't know. We don't really talk.
There's some for
That was
some,
his cell phone, by the way. This thing I was doing.
Yeah, I know what his cell phone looks like and pantomimes as.
Go ahead, Noel.
I was just gonna say when I apologize for some reason my computer keeps turning it off for no reason whatsoever. But some of the discourse with a lot of these movies now that we're like almost 30 movies in and umpteen TV shows, I do see some people basing arguments like about plot off of did the characters in the movie see the other 25 movies?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Right.
Like we have to like scoot it in. Like does there always need to be the argument of like, well, why didn't you call all the other Avengers? Like, just let it go.
Yeah,
like,
relax.
No,
yeah.
People don't. I don't call my brother when I need everything.
Yeah.
Like,
and I always felt like
just stop. Yeah.
In any of these shared universes, I always felt like the explanation is if you can't handle this stuff on your own, like your movie, your TV show kind of stuff, then you shouldn't be a superhero, right? Like so you just should not be in that line of work. So you can't be calling people all the time.
Everything's not an Avenger level threat. Also, too, most of these movies don't have scenes where they're like, well, everybody, let's take a step back and let's assess if we should call help. Like, they usually just happen, right?
Yeah.
I did like it, however, when in Spider-Man Far From Home, he was like, listen, there's so many other superheroes out there. Call one of them. You're S.H.I.E.L.D., for God's sakes. Yeah. And they kind of listed like why they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I also like, I do like that, though. I like that conversation of like, we can't, listen, he's off world. Relax. You can't do it. Just acknowledging that, we know there's like a bunch of other people who can be doing this.
That must happen all the time, right? Like, they're all involved in their own movies things. It's like, I would be perfectly suited to that, but I have to deal with this giant guy attacking my part of the city.
There's no centralized human resources in the Marvel universe in regards to which heroes are taking care of what. Like, hey, who's checked in with Thor? Is he on world? Is he on? Like, it's like there's no database that like assigns people shit. So like the idea that you can't get a hold of, you have no idea where. Like they made a joke about it in Shang-Chi. It's just like, you have my number. I'll see you later. And Carol leaves, and Bruce is like, I don't know how to get a hold of her.
I forgot that line.
Like I like that. Number. Shit like that.
Shall we get to the books? Okay.
What books?
Mars. We are done. Okay. So, what do we got to talk about? Let's talk about some comic books. Nightwing 2021 annual #1 from DC Comics, written by Tom with art by Cyan Tormey. Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, the first Robins, both long ago stepped out of the shadow of the Bat and began walking very different paths on their respective journeys to become who they are today. But now their paths converge, and these two brothers unite for one goal. With Eskrima stick,
it's his batons. That's what they're called.
With batons and a crowbar combined, Nightwing and Red Hood are ready for anything. Anything except what they have to face next. Ha! Don't miss out on this explosive adventure. Well, joke's on you, Nightwing Annual 2021. I missed out on this explosive adventure. I am enjoying the Nightwing series. I think it is just delightful. It's smashing. I love it. It is a return to form for Nightwing. This is one of the better Nightwing runs since I think the New 52 began. And highly, highly enjoyable run. Highly recommended for everybody. I didn't read this episode. Brian, what'd you think?
Yeah. I really liked it. Can I point out also that the Cyan Tormey and Daniel HDR are co-credited with pencils. I didn't want to give slight Daniel HDR. Just which is also his last name is HDR. I don't know.
All you Daniel HDR stands out there, we apologize for the slight, and we've hopefully rectified it.
Himself.
And to Daniel HDR himself, he's been a listener since Jump. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So anyway, I loved this. I loved this comic. This it was a very well done Dick Grayson, Jason Todd story, which is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more antagonistic, just because that's usually what Jason Todd is about when he's in a story. And they really highlighted the whole first and second Robin raised by Batman and the difficulties of that and their bond between the two of them. And that was great. I am I have not read a single issue of Nightwing, although I have been getting it because it looks so cool and you guys love it so much that I'm like, I got to get to that. But I haven't. So I was worried that this was going to, have something to do with the plot. And it doesn't at all. So I was very happy about that. And yeah, it was just, you got flashbacks of them as kids for a little bit, the old Nightwing costume, and the two of them together. Really excellent kind of relationship and dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah, no. I want to make a comparison. This will track. Just go with it. So there's a television show everyone watches called Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. What makes that show mildly brilliant is how they continuously diffuse conflict. The show is almost structured how you shouldn't structure a television show. Like lesser shows will create conflict, they'll drag it out, they'll make people inorganically misunderstand each other or something. Just like real sitcom garbage where a will they, won't they, and but Ted Lasso explicitly will set something up and then pay it off and remove conflict, and the narrative of the show is just a little bit more fluid and realistic. What Tom Taylor has been doing with Nightwing is something very similar. He maintains the positive nature of the character and just has him remove conflict. He is just an emotionally mature character, and you don't have these forced, problems with his siblings or with his relationships. It's not like there's a sense of progression in here, and the fact that the mystery itself of did Jason Todd kill these people on television and blah blah blah. I mean, we kind of called it. I don't know about you, but I kind of called it from a mile away how a Jason Todd lookalike is. But it didn't matter because the actual story was about how immediately Dick believed him, how immediately he's proud of his brother. It was just such a fucking wholesome book. This was
I like that aspect of it. Yeah, you should get to it.
Yeah, I also like a slight change they made to Jason Todd's undies.
Yeah,
they're boxer briefs instead of tidy whities.
That is cool.
Still a little too short. Why is
still a little too short?
Yeah, especially for what he's doing.
Not have protection on his legs.
Right.
Even knee pads would be cool.
Although I'll tell you, when I got to that page, I was like, oh, cool. The classic DC stuff is in place. Even if it doesn't really make much sense, in a proper analysis.
All reality pushed aside and silliness. I love the original Robin costume. Every time that shows up, I'm like, yeah. And they've done a ton of times where they've rejiggered the whole thing so that it's more modern. But there's something about that classic, and it's just nostalgia, honestly. But there's just something I love about that old elfish sort of outfit. But yeah, as a grown man, looking at that outfit, I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That
like a weird thing to dress your sidekick in.
He must be cold.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got some training that handles that. Tim Drake's, I think, is the best. It looks like the Robin costume, but it is something that you might actually wear in that situation.
Tim Drake's original outfit, you mean?
Yeah, Tim Drake's original outfit.
Agreed.
Like you were saying, that it's so cool that Dick just believes him, because I did not see it coming a mile away. I was like, oh, Jason Todd just accidentally killed these 3 people he shouldn't have killed.
Accidentally on purpose.
Well, he purposefully killed them, but they weren't who he thought he was, or thought they were. And, I had no trouble believing that they were going to put Jason Todd in that situation. And yeah, it was awesome that Dick Grayson was like, here are the various ways that it could have gone wrong, which is very much a people living in the comics world, how they would react to this situation. Just like we were talking about with the MCU and not being able to contact each other, kind of the inverse of that.
This whole run has been setting Dick up to be essentially Batman or Bruce and Alfred's best, the best of both of them, and or their most crowning achievement. How do you say it? The crownest of achievements.
Crownest achievement they've got.
Yeah, the crowniest of achievements. They got it. Because all the stuff that so when Alfred died, he left his entire. He signed in his will. He gave everything to Dick.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
is he still dead? Is Alfred still dead?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It sticks. It's in. Yeah. But he left everything to Dick, and it was billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because he worked for Bruce he worked for the Wayne Foundation and squirreled away his money for 35 years.
Yeah.
But he's been consciously doing the opposite of what Batman would do, but with the same mission statement. Like the first volume is called Leaping into the Light. The idea of I'm going to actually open up homes for impoverished. I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy this building and feed all these people. Like he's keeping the mission, but doing it in a completely above the board, in the light kind of way.
Probably more effective in the long run kind of way.
Infrastructure.
You would actually do that.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's actually investing in Bloodhaven. Yeah.
Although I often remember this one really awesome Batman comic from, I don't know, the early 2000s. Do you guys remember there's the clock, the like grandfather clock that he sometimes enters into the cave from, and Bruce Wayne is on one side and Batman on the other, and they both got, kind of leaning with their backs on the clock. And the whole story is like an entire day in Bruce Wayne's life. And you see all of the good stuff that he does as Bruce Wayne, and then all of the stuff that he does as Batman. And I don't really even remember the story, just that it was like a day in the life. But it's always stuck in my memory. I always thought it was cool.
That sounds like something Greg Rucka would have done or did.
Yeah, I could see that.
He was writing it around. Yeah, like this is pre No Man's Land or post No Man's, like late 90s, early
Land.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a Greg Rucka.
And when you just mentioned Greg Rucka, that sounded like that was what was on that comic cover. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounded familiar.
I was going to take the cheap joke and say, "Oh, you mean Armageddon 2001?" Because it's been so long since we mentioned it.
Yeah, let's chat about that for a while.
Yeah,
that was a great crossover, you guys. Some of my favorite crossovers of all time.
Yeah.
How was it?
That's where we met. Wave Rider, he was in that.
How is that?
Man.
How did they not collected? But how did they release it? Was it all annuals? Was it?
It was all annual. There were like bookends,
all annuals,
and then it was the story.
Did they come out every week or were they monthly?
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, so there was like a Superman for. Oh, yeah, indeed. I have a Wave Rider holographic card from the old DC card set over there, you guys.
Real question. Did they do the triangle numbering? Like it's annual 1 or annual 2, but it's part 4 of Armageddon 2001.
None of them there were no parts. It was, I mean, except for like the bookend 1 and 2 issues. They were all their own thing, where Wave Rider would make contact with somebody and see their future. And he was trying to find out which one of them became Monarch. Contact. And they even in books with multiple or characters with multiple books, like the Superman books had each their own story that did not build on the other stories.
Not for nothing, but that sounds infuriating.
Why is that?
Because I would feel like I have to read all of these other titles I'm not reading because it was part of the event that I'm following. However, the storylines only tangentially, if at all, relate to the overthread of.
Oh yeah,
the
it wasn't
story.
an event like that. It was in the days where DC would do kind of themed annuals, you know,
Fifth
and like
week
there
event.
was. Well,
It's 5th week event, right? Atlantis Attacks is a version of that, and one of the onslaughts.
I don't think it was like that at all. It was more like Legends of a Dead Earth or the Elseworlds or whatever, where every book had an annual, or every book that had an annual would be part of that theme. You know, so like Legends of the Dead Earth didn't have a cohesive story. They were just all about some far future time, well after Earth had passed, and a future iteration of that hero. So
I've never heard of Legends of the Dead Earth.
it was cool. I have one that I got from JD's shop here in my apartment right now, the Flash one. But they used to do that, and they weren't events in the sense of like Infinite Crisis or whatever. They weren't tie-ins to an event. It was just, at least that's how I saw it. Like,
I don't know.
reading
Still,
Superman, and that's that.
I get the intention, but still, like when you've got that title banner, whether it's structured as an event or not, it's implied that it is an ongoing effort or an ongoing narrative. It's the same problem we have now when it comes to like King in Black tie-ins. Like they had nothing to fucking do with King in Black. There's just like, it's like the Red Sky shit. Just like, oh shit.
I was just getting ready to say the Red
Yeah.
Sky from Crisis.
But
Yeah.
this was just before tie-ins to events really existed. And it really, like, I never thought of them as events. It was just, it was a thing, but they're all, like, some of them weren't connected at all to each other. They would just, like I said, they would just be like, this is the theme of the annuals this year, you know, that kind of thing. And there was no story reason why you were seeing these stories. You know what I mean?
I think I would lose patience with it, like I do today when it comes to like Omega and Alpha issues, but the actual in between is a bunch of annuals. They just did it with Infinite Destinies or whatever it was. Like it was.
I didn't read a single issue of that.
I think I read one for the show. But those continued one to the next, right, or no?
Not really. Like they each were just standalone stories about one of the people that now possess an Infinity Stone.
Right.
So they were thematically connected, but there was no page like issue to issue. And sorry, Jay. We should probably talk about the comics we read this week.
I find this to be an interesting discussion on a comics-related show.
The Me You Love in the Dark, number 5. Sorry.
Mars said, "Oh, like Evolutionary War."
I don't know that one. Oh,
I know
the High Evolutionary, like from way back when. Yeah.
I think that's what they're talking about. Kevin says, "My 13-year-old self is totally with you."
But which one of us?
But which one of them?
Yeah.
Probably. Brian. No one's ever on my side.
Oh. The Me You Love in the Dark, number 5 from Image Comics, written by Scotty Young with art by Jorge Corona. Ro can no longer ignore the connection she feels to her unique housemate, or... Wait, what? Hold on. Ro can no longer ignore the connection she feels to her unique housemate, or the extreme and intense danger that relationship could hold for her. Okay, so guys, I read maybe the first 2 or 3 issues of The Me You Love in the Dark. I'm on board. I like it a lot. Basically, it's a spooky haunted house story, but like there's also a relationship blooming between the spooky ghost and the woman who is taking up residence there in order to work on her art. And Ro can no longer ignore the connection she feels. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in issue 2 or 3, did they not have sex?
Yeah. They.
What is she ignoring?
I didn't.
You guys are already fucking. Yeah. What?
I didn't write the solicitation. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I feel like it's that ship has sailed.
Also,
that's my point.
That is not what happened in this issue.
I didn't read this issue.
Yeah.
I called it back in issue 2. What you wanted to happen, JD, does not happen.
Quite the opposite.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were all like, wouldn't it be a great story if the monster wasn't malevolent? Yeah, sure. It would have been. It's not this.
I found myself immediately like, oh, it's like every other story. No, I thought they were doing something.
No, I don't think it's every other story. I have never seen a story like this where the ghost reaches out and was like, what's up?
Yeah, true. Now, to be fair, it is one of those deals where it seems as though the ghost does not know that it has done something horrible. And I think that it's like kind of a, like, I had no idea that causing extreme pain was bad. You know, that kind of thing.
I don't
like Hellraiser?
I never saw that.
No.
Okay.
I don't, it's not, this is a very common, some could argue pedestrian story, but not in the way that you think. Like, all he did, what all the creators did, where they took a very boring scenario that's usually in Hallmark movies about abusive spouses and just made him a ghost monster in a house. But it's literally the same exact plot line of I was lost.
A Lifetime movie?
Found. Yeah. I was lost. Now I'm found. This guy's too good to be true. He's everything that I want. He's smothering me a little bit. Oh, I can't leave. Oh, there's violence. Like, it's the same exact to a T thriller.
But he does seem, like, do you agree that, like, there is that kind of innocence to this ghost? Like, I hesitate to say innocence because he's, like, killing people. But he's doesn't seem to know that that is a problem. Whereas, like, an abusive... Oh, thank you, Mars Comics. We're both. Whereas, like, in those Lifetime movies, like, the boyfriend is like, aware of human interaction. You know what I mean?
That's like a 10% tweak, but it doesn't change the actual, like, plot threads. So... And that's even if we're taking him at face value. It's like, oh, I'm doing what you wanted. I ripped this person in pieces, and now I'm reanimating them because you were upset. I ripped them in pieces.
Now,
so I guess I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's still the like the emotional beats are the same. Of like, I smacked you, or I pushed you down the stairs, but I love you. You know, I didn't know that I was that strong.
You made me do this.
Yeah, it's still the same gaslighting kind of bullshit that are in.
I would see it as different from that in the rules of this world, which obviously we don't know fully, but just, I mean, like, the rules of a supernatural world. I think there is a chance that the ghost actually, like, that it matters that the ghost doesn't have the same perceptions of pain and death as humans do.
Yeah, but the net result is still
it is
possessive and abusive. A significant other being possessive and abusive, smothering, possessive, and then the last straw is abusive, and then it's her actions to escape from it, if she escapes from it. No spoilers. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same exact beats. The only thing that's mildly different is great art, awesome character design, and it's maybe a ghost, but, like, it's still the same, like, coded caricatures.
I guess I was keying in more on, I forgot, you know, the ghost does also physically prevent her from leaving. I was keying in more on the killing that dude and being like, I thought you wanted him to leave. What's the problem?
Maybe, but that scene itself, the way that it escalates, it's in issue 4.
It's in issue 4. Yeah.
The way that scene escalates, though, is... he keeps asking her to get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. He shouldn't be in my house. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Okay. I'll get rid of him. And then he fucking murders him. And because she was, like, actively trying to get him to leave too. And he's just like, I'll take care of this. And fucking ripped him in pieces. So it wasn't like oops, I killed him. It was
no, that's not great.
This is I did not like this miniseries. I think it's a waste. I think it was a wasted opportunity to tell something different, and it just ended up being a Lifetime movie with ghosts.
Is it over?
Or interdimensional beings? No. Yeah, it's just 5 issues.
Oh, this was the last issue?
This is the end.
Oh, that is even more disappointing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Shoot.
This is one of those instances where it's almost more. I'm more upset when things are mediocre than I am when things are great or fucking awful. This is absolutely so many missed opportunities to do something a little bit different. So it's like masterfully done, but it's so incredibly rote, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a bummer.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to reading this too.
Finish it. Maybe
Don't
you will have a and if anything, maybe we've tempered your expectations.
Yeah.
It's still incredibly well done. It's just I don't care to ever read these stories. I think that
it's just it sounds like our ideas for where it could have gone were better for us than what actually happened.
Yeah.
Right.
It happens all the time.
I was gonna say, but I felt this coming like with issue 3. In issue 3, when they finally consummated their relationship, he immediately started turning kind of creepy.
Douchey.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I mean, the next 2 issues, he's gonna go too far. It's gonna be a thing. There's probably I'm gonna turn her into a ghost.
I guess the way
Mars says, "Yep, that is very well put. A wasted opportunity."
Yeah. Did you read all these, Mars? Yeah. I guess it was done so well in the beginning. I thought, oh, that's the one. Yeah. Who wrote it?
Is it Rucka?
Nope. Devin Grayson.
Also solid Batman writer of that time.
It was for those not watching. If you're listening to the podcast version of this, referencing Brian's Batman and Bruce Wayne standing in front of the grandfather clock on the cover of a comic book. It was Batman Gotham Knights number 32 from October of 2002. And the artist it was written by Devin Grayson with art by Roger Robinson and John Floyd. I quite liked this text. What do you call this?
Indicia.
Like the little bat, the bat helmet in the logo for no good reason. Like there's like an oval with the bat cowl in there.
It's perfect.
Like you don't know it's a Batman book. We're just gonna add this extra bat cowl thing. But I like it.
You do like it.
No, I do. I'm just saying it's
trade dress,
useless.
I guess, is
trade dress is the word I'm looking for. Mars said yes. Mars says yes. Sadly, I did read them all.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's move on to Human Target number 2 from DC Comics, written by Tom King with art by Greg Smallwood. Christopher Chance now has 11 days to solve his own murder. With almost no leads, it would seem the case of his own death has gone cold. But it's about to get a whole lot colder. Enter Ice, former member of Justice League International, arriving at Chance's office with some unexpected information and mysterious intentions. This was great. This was so good. I actually read one of the books this week. It's like the third, fourth book we're talking about. And I actually read it. Top of the stack, baby. Human Target. There we go. I did it. Human Target is the name of it. And top of the stack. This book goes right to the top. Not only is it Tom King, who I think thrives in the mini to maxi series format, but this Greg Smallwood art. Very much in line with one of my favorite illustrators of all time, Darwin Cook. This sort of channels that and, dare I say, even takes it a little bit further and is actually maybe a little bit better. But boy, oh boy. I dare. I dare. This was great. I don't have extensive experience with the JLI. I know that it is a beloved run. I know that Batman dropped what's his nuts in one punch, Guy Gardner, and Bwahaha. Right, I get all the references, but I remember going back years ago and being like, "Oh, here we go! I'm finally going to read this," and I was just like, and maybe it was too much of the time, but it didn't. I didn't stick with it.
It's really of its era because I had trouble reading it too. I only got like through the first chunk. It's
good.
It's adorable and self-referential, but I didn't care. Like I cared more about the way that they refer to it than I do actually experiencing the stories.
Yeah.
Like I
Yes,
love the
yes.
era as an era that it existed,
Yeah.
but do
Yes.
I want to revisit it? No.
Like reading
No,
an
not at
old
all.
Silver Age story. You know,
Yeah,
Flash
it's just
from
like, oh, this
1957.
is cute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't continue reading these.
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
I never
but I do
liked-
like when they reference it,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
which is weird.
I was
But-
never into it at the time because I was like, who are these schmucks? Where's the Justice
Yeah.
League? You
Who
know,
the
and it's
fuck
like
are
a
these
comedy
guys?
book in the
Yeah.
Justice League, right? And, you know, especially at that time, I was all about like the original heroes, the original makeup of the teams, you know, all that stuff. But I feel the same way now, you know, like, I mean, starting a long time ago, I'm like, cool. They have fire and ice are in something, or, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. Dan H says this issue was as good as Darkseid eating crudité. Am I saying that right?
Coup
Coup
d'etat.
Coup d'etat!
Yeah.
A
Dang it.
coup
Although
d'etat?
I'm not 100% sure what that is.
A crudité is a vegetable tray.
Am I thinking of a coup d'etat?
You're thinking of a coup d'etat,
Yeah.
which they also occurred in that book.
A blow to the head?
A coup d'etat? No, an overthrowing of
Oh, yeah.
a monarchy or
Yeah.
Oh, a coup.
It is
a coup,
literally
yeah.
blow
A
to
coup
the head.
d'etat.
But
Yeah.
was there that in this? Did that happen?
Oh no, we're talking about Mr. Miracle now.
Oh.
For anyone who hasn't read Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits, do yourself a favor and go read it. It's great. I don't care if you're one of the people who's like, I don't like Jack Kirby's Fourth World. Meh, meh, meh. That's me. I'm the guy going, meh, meh, meh. It doesn't matter. It's a great story. So yeah, look, this book though, off to a great start. The first two are top notch, absolutely enjoyable. I liked seeing Ice. Although, okay, so Brian, did you have a lot of experience with JLI?
Yeah, I know him. I didn't read the book as it came out very much, but I've like read a lot of what came after, and I feel like I have a lot of experience with the JLI by this point.
This characterization of Ice, I don't know her very well, but I'd like to.
Oh.
She feels a little bit like she has been shimmied into this femme fatale visits the detective in order to get him to take a case, kind of. We're going to flirt a lot.
Right.
There doesn't seem to be a lot to her that is very, like, her personality doesn't seem different than that. Does this feel like Ice to you, the character?
It does, but this is also, Ice is not normally like that. It kind of fits here because she is a femme fatale, but her innocence seems to be her, like, draw. Her vulnerability is her draw in this, which is very much like, she was a very naive character. Like, that was her defining trait, was she was like a small town girl in the big city kind of thing. And the pairing of her and Guy Gardner was this like polar opposites kind of deal. Also, I looked it up. It's crudité, but it is spelled with an S at the end. So there we go.
Crudites.
It's crudites.
Credits. Yeah, Billy Credites.
Anyway, I think that because of the reveal at the end, she maintains her normal characterization, but with a hint of she understands her role. Like,
yeah, she's more embracing, and I think also
self-aware.
knows her allure.
She's self-aware of her persona, external as well as she's self-aware of the persona she has, so she's playing with it, and we know this because of just that last page reveal of essentially Christopher Chance kind of just saying like, yeah, I know I'm being played. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also after, like, this is well after her time in the JLI, so it makes sense that she is a more mature person than she was in as a very young person in the JLI, a young adult.
And they did the title card sequence again too.
Yeah.
At the end,
it was awesome.
I like that.
This art is phenomenal. They really capture like this like mid-century kind of 70s movie poster kind of
Mhm.
thing, and I'm thinking of a variety of movies that I've never seen, like The French Connection or something like that, and what that looks like. The coloring is great. This like
God.
washed pastels kind of
There's-
thing. Very cool.
It's in a weird way. It's almost getting annoying talking about Tom King's books because we keep saying the same thing over and over again. That the art is spectacular. We do.
2 out of 3.
This is probably the only one that you've been enjoying. Actually,
Yeah,
are
what
you
was
up to
the other-
date on
there was another
Supergirl
one.
or Supergirl?
Yes,
Supergirl,
that's the other
you'd
one.
like.
I'm into
Yeah.
that. I'm very into that. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Until she rips somebody in half.
Yeah, I always read,
2
and
out of
this one
4.
more so than Supergirl, like, I'm reading it with trepidation. Like, I hope nothing goes wrong.
I mean,
but,
they
you know,
can't.
we'll see.
You can't like. There's no altruistic version of Christopher Chance to besmirch, really. You know,
Right,
like
right. I'm more
he
worried
is a
about the
PI,
JLI
he is a
characters.
bodyguard.
Yeah.
But we've already established that we don't really have emotions towards them, other than like I get it, Bwahaha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like if they turn Guy Gardner into a murderer, I'll be like, interesting. All right.
I would not be that way.
Nah,
The
probably not.
eyes, man. I keep going like panel to panel. All of the eyes, the facial expressions, and the eyes all have emotion behind it or intent. Like,
Yeah.
God
Ice
damn, the eyes are
especially, I
so
think,
good.
Is Ice has this like very, very like real human emotion quality to, you know, or like this very, it's not realistic, but it conveys the essence of these expressions that she is giving in a very powerful way. It's very cool way. All the stuff that they do with her cold stuff too is cool. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I love this scene where he's like, I can swim, no big deal. I'm gonna swim and I'm a man. It's great. And then all of a sudden he's like, cough, cough, cough. Oh shit, I might die. I'm not gonna make it back. This sucks.
Yeah. He's slowly dying from a poison.
Yeah.
His book is near perfect.
Right. Right.
You don't even have to like the story to recognize that this book is near perfect.
Yeah, I think I want to start getting this book in its physical form.
I would like to do that too.
Do you have a shop? Well, we can probably order.
I can. Number 2 is already on back order.
Really?
But I've got number 1 here for you if you want it.
Oh, I do want it. And see if we can get that number 2 at some point. But you know what also reminds me of Jim Steranko's Shield, Nick Fury and Agents of Shield. Not the pencil quality or anything, but just the
colors,
the layouts, and also especially the ones, I think it's a few pages after this where you get kind of a little ice flashback and it's a bunch of text on one side and panels on the other side. Just that sort of close-up camera thing that Steranko did, at least in that famous gun in the holster.
Bendis and Malieve did that a lot too.
Yeah.
During their Daredevil run, like they would recap stuff or do, you know, courtroom scenes like this where it was a lot of static. Instead of like panel layouts to show you motion, it was just a lot of almost a diorama of static images and then just like text on the left or the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very effective. Yeah.
There's this book is just a bevy of influences, modern and classic, but it still feels like a present day story. Even we talked about this last time. I have no idea when the fuck this takes place, and that's okay. It's almost like that. Yeah. It's that ever present future version of the 40s, like
Batman the animated series. Yeah.
Like it's modern day, but it's not. But it is. But it's not. Yeah. Like that's this could be
sort of
the 60s, 70s. Or 2010
or today.
Yeah, like it really could be anything, and I kind of love that.
Oh, also this I also love that, Noel. While we're on this page, I want to say so this kind of twist of Ice's backstory, where at one time it was this more wholesome thing. That is in comics. That is like part of real. That was late 90s. I get mid to late 90s that was revealed. Booster Gold was in his armor after the Death of Superman thing. It was around that time.
Okay.
yeah, that was already in there, but it works for the kind of story that Tom King often tells.
Mhm.
So yeah, very good.
All right. Just
Pick up this book,
top notch all
everybody.
the way. Do it. All right. Hey, listen, if you're enjoying what we're doing here today, you like hanging out with us and you want us to keep doing it, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Click the bell notification so you know when we go live. Like and follow us on Facebook. We stream there as well. If you go to facebook.com/CultPopPodcasts. And if you want to give us your hard-earned monies, you can go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo and help us out there. I'm going to be starting I keep saying this, but I'm going to do it, a sticker tier. Right now, most people are just sort of like tossing me $1 or $5 to help out with the show, to help out with the store, all that other stuff. I'm going to start doing stickers.
Sweet.
I'm trying to think of what the next one will do, because I already did Laszlo. I have yet to send those out, but I did Laszlo, and I might do I watched Edward Scissorhands today. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, other than that, if you can't do any of that stuff.
I was gonna suggest anything Pizza Dog.
Oh, Pizza Dog.
Pizza
Yeah.
Dog.
Just rock and roll Pizza Dog.
I was
Literally
gonna say
wearing the
my
fuck I have right now.
base, but if you don't want to do that, that's fine.
I don't think. Actually,
I
that
think
would be
people would like
popular.
it.
I eat my words. I think people would really like that.
Thank you.
My wife was like, how did they find a dog with its eye missing like that?
It's digital.
They found a regular dog.
Yeah.
And they
scooped it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a rusty spoon.
Yeah. They didn't have to do
and
that, but they
They
did.
did it 3
Show
times.
business, baby.
They did it 3 times because the first 2 dogs didn't make it.
Oh.
They're alive. Their just acting was terrible.
Oh yeah, no, they sucked. They probably should have screen tested them before they ripped their eyes
Before
out.
the eye thing. But how would they know if it's going to work with the no eye?
How to light the socket and stuff. It's a whole
Exactly.
yeah.
So, Noel has written in the thing here, instead of a thunder round for some reason,
Thunder round.
a segment called No Review / Recap.
It's not a segment so much as just I'm gonna talk about this alone. Nobody else read Avengers number 50.
There's no 60-second timer.
Yeah, it's a 96-page book. I kind of wanted more than a minute. Okay. Considering you're not gonna do the solicit, I'll take care of it, I guess.
Avengers number 50, Marvel Comics, Jason Aaron, Aaron Cooter, Javier Garron, Ed McGuinness, Carlos Pacheco, and Steve McNiven. Throughout this supersized extravaganza, fans will witness the shocking conclusion of World War She-Hulk, finally learn the true purpose of the prehistoric Avengers, uncover the shocking secret of the Iron Inquisitor, watch the Avengers recruit some surprising new members, and follow the Ghost Rider on a quest for vengeance across the multiverse that will spark an all-new era in Avengers history. Noel, take it away.
This book was weird as shit. So I kind of wanted to see your face reactions, but that's fine. This book was weird as shit. It was structured like a anthology book. However, they took every single plot thread from the last 50 issues and either wrapped it up, recontextualized it, or teased it ongoing. This was absolutely, you could pick this up and not have read a goddamn thing in the last 50 issues and been like, oh, because it was all in chapters. It was a bunch of 10-page chapters that addressed something. And some of these plot threads go back to like fucking Jason Aaron's run on Wolverine. Like it's this because the orb shows up from Original
Sin, right?
Yeah. There is so much craziness that goes through here. There's a prologue, an epilogue, and 9 chapters, and each one kind of works off a plot thread. You've got like they listed them all in there. The Vampire Nation, the BC Avengers, all the stuff with Atlantis, She-Hulk's whole reason for being how she is. Like he literally just like started knocking down plot threads, and halfway through you're like, is this the end of his run? No, he introduces like 2 or 3 more new ones. Like this is absolutely wild.
Red Hulk has the Star brand.
That Otherworld version of it. He also introduces or creates, I don't know, like 15 new characters because they're setting up this multiversal Avengers and multiversal Legion of Doom. So,
is this going to be Avengers Forever?
Yeah, it leads into some of the Avengers Forever stuff. So he literally creates a bunch of new superheroes just in one splash page that have never been heard of or not. Because the whole conceit is that there's always been some sort of amalgamation or version of these characters that find each other over eons, like over the last millions of years to just kind of
in this world, not like okay, I gotcha.
This world and others. They're like like there's heroes we know of and those that we've never heard of yet. Or had never heard of. Like he keeps making his focus bigger and wider, and I'm waiting for it to break, but it's still like capital C comics, and it still is really fun. In the middle of all of it, you've got this wonderful scene with Robbie Reyes, crying, getting the Avengers to just verbally confirm for him that if he dies, they'll take care of his brother. Like, this book is just great. This whole run has been great. I don't know why people are crazy and bitching. This is big comic books. Also, a bunch of the team members kind of retired here. Some go off and do something else. Some there, and they leave it open with, let's refresh our roster. Let's go. So this is a version of Howard Stark that made a deal with Mephisto and now is the armor of hell. Is going to be a character going for like this is just fucking weird.
He's the armorer of hell, like he works. Armoring them. Oh wow, interesting.
He is the Legion of Red's armor, personal armorer. So like all the multiversal Mephistos, he's like their weaponeer. It's fucking. This book is fucking weird. And it just gets weirder and weirder in the most fun ways.
It does look great.
Oh, and
this looks like
Robbie Reyes was revealed to be a multiversal Avenger. So the Avenger Prime, whoever that is, has been sending Deathlocks across the multiverse to warn various Earth's Avengers teams that some shit's going down. So you've got like these rogue Deathlocks all over the place, and when they find their target, they transport them, and Robbie Reyes is gone. This is so fucking fun. This book is fun as hell.
Hang on a second. What's the Prime Avenger?
The head of the multiversal Avengers. We don't know yet.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like
boy.
He could be, and so there's a backup story by Stephen.
Oh, Kevin. I did read that.
This backup story.
I figured it was quick enough. Like I was right towards the showtime, and I was like, all right, I could read that part.
The two worthies. It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It's like the whole big issue ends, and then there's this like 5 or 6 page story about medieval broods
by somebody else. That I wonder if they just had this story and they're like, yeah, 750 would be a good place to put this.
Yeah, this absolutely feels like a one of those stories that was in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah. Drawer story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, I can't tell if Kevin is teasing. I'm confused. It was good.
Yeah.
He got it. It's good.
Okay.
A Ghost Rider on a shark. A Hawaiian Ghost Rider whose mode of transportation was a shark. Like that's
is it a mechanical shark or a regular shark?
Regular shark.
Regular shark.
Ghost Riders don't fuck around.
Can they do that? Can they has that been shown before that they can make
whatever their preferred mode of transportation just kind of becomes empowered
woolly
by
mammoth.
them. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I guess even in the old days there was a horse one.
Yeah.
Jane
I had
Foster's
done
a Avenger.
Nice. Oh, I love Jane Foster.
Sweet.
I did an illustration years and years ago. It was like a punk rock Ghost Rider, and he sort of had a mod, black and white suit on, and he wore, he rode a Vespa that was on fire.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's canon.
Yeah.
Good. That's real.
I mean, it's a multiverse, right?
The other thing that I like for the last however long he's been on this book, 3 years, 4 years, everyone has been bitching hard about She-Hulk.
Oh, God damn it.
That she's a more of a Hulk and blah blah blah. And the entire time Jason Aaron has been saying that it's for a story reason. This is a different version for a reason. Stop, like, you're making her manly and just neckbeards.
Every day that I can't masturbate to a green, roided out gamma woman is another day that the terrorists win.
Essentially. However, it was like revealed the entire reason why the Celestial imbued her with this new version of her powers that absorbs as opposed to emits. And it all comes to fruition here. And she uses it to not only save Atlantis, but also heal the sick Celestial. Like it was a whole grand design of these, gods on Earth that was set up in the very first arc of the Avengers book. And now she's back to being a lawyer.
Your talkative self.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Now, I'm not going to lie.
It was a plan, and everyone needs to chill the fuck out and just read their stories.
I do like this version of She-Hulk. I'm not going to lie. But I'm not bent out of shape because she's a different version for a little while.
But we've been reading comics for most of our lives and understand that this shit is always cyclical.
Yep.
Brian, you mentioned, Alfred's still dead?
Yeah. Like I said,
basic implication that he will not be dead forever because that's how it works. Like, is he still dead? They haven't brought him back yet? They will.
I'm just checking in. Is that still happening? Right.
It's always cyclical. So the fact that she had a status quo for more than 5 issues and people freaked the fuck out. Yes, Kid Thanos is a thing.
Yeah.
This book is
that's awesome. It makes me want to go back and like start from scratch. I'm hoping they do an omnibus of this.
I hope so too. But if anybody's interested, they are collecting them in oversized hardcovers. I think the second one comes out soon, and the first one's not hard to find. Okay. I had a conversation with somebody online in regards to, can I just read this issue? And I suggested, I think you can. You could jump in and read this as like an anthology of just like recapping a shit ton of plot threads. And if you like it, you can go forward and at the same time catch up.
That's because what I
the way that it's constructed is just so old school comics friendly, where it's just like jumping in the story at the middle and like, oh, I could go back and figure out what happened there. Like it's very open. It's like open world role playing. It's fun.
All right. Well, let's move on to Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons #1 from DC Comics, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by Phil Jimenez. The wait is over, and the entire story of the Amazons can finally be told. Millennia ago, Queen Hera and the goddesses of the Olympian pantheon grew greatly dissatisfied with their male counterparts, and far from their sight, they put a plan into action. A new society was born, one never before seen on Earth, capable of wondrous and terrible things, but their existence could not stay secret for long. When a despairing woman named Hippolyta crossed the Amazons' path, a series of events was set in motion that would lead to an outright war in heaven and the creation of the Earth's greatest guardian. So the very first thing to note about this book, or that I noted about this book, was the artwork.
Yeah.
First of all, the cover that I had was by Olivier Coipel. This is lovely. This cover by Phil Jimenez is fine. But the cover by Olivier Coipel was just stunning, and is a cover that you very rarely see on comic book shelves. So I was very excited about that. And then when I gave it a cursory glance, I went, "Holy cats! Look at the art in this book."
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend of mine, Callie, who is very much into Wonder Woman, and I was like, "Oh, you should check this out." And she looked at it and she was like, "Oh, this is too much for me. I don't think I want to look at this." And I was like, "Really? Wow, okay." And then I opened it up and I started reading it. And I also went, man, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot going on in every single page. I think the problem lies in the coloring of this book. There are so many. So basically, back when Dark Knight Strikes Again came out, Frank Miller was trying new, bigger pages. He was drawing with like, I don't know, fucking Sharpie or something. And his wife, Lynn Varley, had just, it seemed like, and I apologize if this is offensive, seemed like she had just discovered Photoshop. And she just discovered all of the different things that you could do with Photoshop. And it was hideous. Just like through every single trick in the book, every Photoshop trick in the book was in that book. And I felt similarly about this. The artwork, I think, really detracts from the work that Phil Jimenez put in. There's a lot of digital effects and a lot of hoopla going on. That being said, the story was interesting enough for people who like that sort of thing. I don't think I care about how for me specifically, the way that the history of, or the creation of Themyscira is brought about is like a 2-page prologue to a story. I don't care. I'm like, okay, oh, is that how it happened? Great. Where's Wonder Woman? So there was a lot of effort in this book. I think everyone worked really hard on it, but I found it to be more like homework than something I was actively interested in or engaged in. What did you think, Brian?
I really liked it.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
And I really like the art too. I had the same experience that you did when I opened the first page. I was like, "Ooh, this is a lot." You know, it's like it reminds me in that sense a little bit of Decorum, but the art style is very different. You know, and it's a lot visually to process. And it was also, I was reading it shortly before the show, and who is that one? I forget.
It's NEOP.
Okay. So yeah, the art is a lot to process. There's a lot going on color-wise, but also there's a lot of very intricate things happening. And but after the first, like, I'm looking at the first page and I was like, this is going to be hard to get through. And as I kept going, I was just like more and more into the depictions of all of the different gods and goddesses is very cool. Like the way they choose to render those things, and how they choose to display the different, like Aphrodite being the goddess of love, and Athena the goddess of wisdom, and put that forth in, or like Zeus's godliness in their personification was very cool. It's also, I think, notable that when you see Hippolyta, the art is not like this. Yeah, that's cool, with all the vases describing the torture of human women. Yeah, or various wrongs that have been done to them. It's not depicting their torture for that reason. But when you see the scenes on Earth with Hippolyta, the art is not like this. You know, it's much more grounded. And so I really enjoyed that kind of like, this is the abstraction of the godly realm kind of thing with the art.
That's
I
didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's how I got it. And I also really liked how their interaction with Zeus goes. That very often in these kinds of tales, Zeus is just an arrogant jerk. And I'm not saying he wasn't that in it, right? Like, but he also, like, at one point they say, you know, he's like, well, women get mistreated sometimes, you know, that's life. And she's like, well, did women do anything to deserve that? And he says, as a whole, no. Individually, sometimes, you know, like any person, you know, like any group of people. So he was not the outright opposition and kind of jerk leader that he is often portrayed as, but there was still definitely friction between the male and female goddesses on gender lines. I thought it was very nuanced. It was cool. So also 2 words showed up. One, Iotopia, that I did not know in the very beginning. This is the Iotopia of the history of the Amazons. And I looked it up. Aristotle described it as like a systematic account of something that happens. and the other one is the name George pops. So they just call somebody George, and I was like, oh, that's odd. George, as it turns out, is rooted in a Greek name. George, I forget what it is. It's like George, but longer and Greek sounding. So yeah,
Georgicus.
I
also loved this. Yeah, I loved the. From jump, I don't care about the
history of the
Pantheon
Amazons.
and like that was they're magic. They're over there. They started tell your story. So like I'm not inherently interested in the full family tree hierarchy. However, the way that it's presented here with all of these goddesses kind of seeing a pattern before others and wanting to do something above the board about it, yet they can't get anything done, kind of create this little plan to hatch female protectors in the mortal realm. And I think that that's super dope. Like it was just done so incredibly well. Do I need to remember every single name of the 5 Amazon daughters of each goddess? No. It's cool that it's here though. Like this read very much like a wonderful issue of like the history of the Marvel universe or something like that. This was all preliminary, but it was just so well done. I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I think that's where I get stuck, where I'm like, all these names. This person sired this person and blah blah blah, and I'm like, I'm not gonna remember all this, and then I get stressed out about it. Like, am I gonna need to remember these names later? Because I'm not.
Like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Like, they even have a guide in the back with all the different people if you would ever like to look it up. But, I'm sure they play the role of being the sort of first Amazons, and which one is which is probably not that, like, the name of each one is probably not that important to the story. I saw you mentioned, JD, in the comments that this particular spread suffers from Deodato panel orgy. Yeah. Again, like, I interpreted this as, like, this is more levels of consciousness than you can handle kind of thing.
Oh.
Like, there's so much of this going on because this is the realm of the gods.
I see.
And portray it.
Yeah, almost like visual feedback.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have
too many dimensions for you to figure out.
You don't possess the proper spectrum to be able to actually handle this.
Yeah.
There's definitely
that does not make for a pleasant experience.
No,
also, look at this. Look at these upper right 3 panels. What is happening here?
I don't know. It was like
there were pieces and times when, like, I agree. Like, I have trouble with J.H. Williams stuff a lot, where tell me a story, don't just, like, bombard me with imagery. I didn't have a problem with this. I don't know why. Cool. I followed the text boxes. It was almost like a double pass each time. I would read the text boxes only, and then I would, like, circle back and do the imagery as opposed to kind of absorb them at the same time. And then by the end of the book, it was very linear. So I was like, fine. Also, too, the way that this book is being released, it's bi-monthly, and Phil Jimenez, I think, is only doing this first issue.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The next issue is going to be Jean Ha, and then the third issue is Nicola Scott, and it's just different eras or different parts of the history of Amazon.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, like, this one's one and done. The style or the story structure or what's happening in the next one, I don't know. I feel like we got this format, but the next issue is going to be completely different. Which is funny, cool
or interesting that you mentioned text boxes and all. I think that helps. That the text is fairly sparse, right? If this was a denser read, both covering up the art and trying to figure it out, but also just having to go through a lot of text while this art is happening, that would be a very different experience, and I think not as enjoyable an experience.
Yeah, I wonder what DeConnick's script was like. Like, how much of this is Jimenez, how much of this is her, like, Alan Moore level dictation of the imagery. Because for there to be, like, this is a perfect example that I think a lesser writer would put their work on the page as opposed
Yeah.
to eliminate their work to make sure that the page works. You know, like it's just it's really confident and really well done. So
Man.
Yeah, JD, go ahead.
oh, there
I'm
you
just
go.
curious to see what you think of the Hippolyta parts, like now that we have talked about it.
Oh no, you're right. The Olympus style stuff is very on purpose, right? And then when we go to Earth, it's much more subdued.
Yeah.
Agreed. No, I didn't notice that. You're right. I'm even less excited about issue 2 because I really don't like Gene Ha's artwork. Bummer.
I don't. I can't remember anything.
He did a book that we reviewed here called May. It's MAE.
I remember that one.
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Number 2.
I
usually don't forget about that shit.
But yeah, it's not for me. I'm not super into it.
I'm
glad everyone liked this. I respect what this was doing. I respect what this issue was attempting. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. What's next? Anything? King of Spies #1, Image Comics, Mark Millar and Matteo Scalera. The world's greatest secret agent has 6 months to live. Does he die quietly in a hospital bed, or does he make up for a lifetime of bad decisions? I'm going to assume it's just going to be 6 issues of him in a hospital bed getting his bedpan cleaned
quietly.
Yeah. No dialogue.
Less than that. 4 issues. There's going to be 4 issues.
Yeah. He's been propping up an unfair system for over 40 years. Now he knows where all the bodies are buried and has nothing to lose when he turns his gun on everyone who ever made a buck creating the mess we're in right now. So I wasn't entirely sure if this was supposed to be a tie-in to the Kingsman, because it's the King of Spies, and they keep talking about the Kings in this. So I was wondering if it was going to be part of the Kingsman storyline that Mark Millar also created and wrote.
Oh,
I don't think that's the case.
That.
Yes,
it was called Secret Service in the comic books.
Oh, okay.
But the movie The Kingsman,
it
was based on Secret Service.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. So this was fun. I quite like this. I like a good spy tale. I also like a spy who gets a conscience after he's diagnosed that he's only got 6 months to live. And he starts
specifically to like it when it's 6 months to live.
6 months to live.
He gets the conscience.
It's a real specific sweet spot, but this book, it's like it was made for that sweet spot. Yeah.
What a great, glorious read for you.
I was surprised how much I liked this. So I feared that it would be Mark Millar edgelord garbage.
Yeah.
And then
you always run that risk.
The whole first opening sequence is Mark Millar edgelord garbage. But then in the second and third act, you realize that he is self-aware that it's edgelord garbage, and the main character wants to subvert his post actions, right? So you've got fucking weird, crazy shit where he just like bashes in with a kid being delivered that shoots out, and he uses his silences, his fucking Walther PPK with a silencer to cut the umbilical cord and then jump off of a bridge, making like sexist jokes all the way down. It is the most edgy bullshit. However, it's played for jokes because these movies, these tropes are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I really liked the juxtaposition of the first act with the last act, and like, oh, this might have more meat on its bones than just cycling through cliches. And I really appreciated that. And I love Matteo Scalera art. It's chaotic, but also really clean at the same time. I don't know how he does it. Yeah.
It feels very much like Raphael Albuquerque. It feels very much like Raphael Albuquerque. Yeah.
His lines are a little thinner, but yeah, absolutely. It's like they come from the same kind of school.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I'm glad I didn't hear anything about the solicitation before I started reading this book.
Yeah, same.
I wasn't looking forward to it. I haven't been a big fan of Mark Millar for some time. Like he wrote some cool stuff, but I mean, Superman Red Sun was good. That was a long time ago.
I think I bring this up every single time he gets mentioned. You of all people need to read Starlight. Mark Miller's Starlight.
Okay.
It is essentially about like Flash Gordon goes and saves another world, comes home, raises a family, and everyone kind of thinks he's crazy, puts it behind him, and then like 35 years later, after his wife passes of natural causes, they show up again, and he's like, yeah, fuck it, let's go have an adventure. And it's just like wholesome and wonderful. Yeah. It's like the best thing that Mark Miller has written in the last decade.
That's cool.
And no one talks about it.
No.
But of all people, I think you would be.
Yeah, it does sound
that's
cool.
That's your wheelhouse. Kind of
yeah. Yeah, he's not a writer who I'm like, oh, if he ever wrote something, I'm almost definitely not going to be into it. I just haven't. It's been a while since I was into one of his books, and also there's some stuff that he writes that I'm like,
cringy.
Like you said, I'm like, I don't like this. What you're doing here, I don't like this story that you're telling. So I found, I even kind of thought the opening sequence was like this bombastic, fun kind of thing, just in the sense of action. But he's obviously very trope heavy, 60s spy kind of thing. Like I don't disagree with your take on it. But it was very like almost superhuman action, you know. And then to not know that it was heading in this direction where he's a bunch older, he's realized that he behaved poorly in the past, and is starting to get this idea of like, hey, we really could have done something good for the world, and we didn't. And now he's got 3 to 6 months to turn that around. It looks like a fun story.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and hopefully,
yeah.
I do hope that it's just a tight one and done series. Like he's got, and it is only 4 issues, which I find surprising. Unless he drags it out and
I would have thought
our
6.
character doesn't die at the end.
Yeah, the further adventures.
Yeah, part
and
2,
real layers.
Month 2. Yeah,
yeah, it's like the Human Target, but each miniseries is one day.
Yeah, it's just another day.
Yeah. He's very layered too. This guy, like, you learn a lot of different things about his past. Not that they're so different from each other. Like he's kind of mistreated one child and never met another one. But the way that the layers are revealed, I think, just proceeds in a very kind of draw you in, organic kind of way.
It's more elegant than I was expecting.
Yeah, he meets the queen.
Yeah, and she's a sassy little lady.
She is.
Yeah, this book surprised me. I'm very happy it's on my pull. I like tight little miniseries, and I hope that he sticks to landing.
Yeah. I like also how he kills all those jerks who were like being jerks to the wait staff, and he walks out just covered in blood, and he's like, "Take it easy, guys." They're like, "All right, see ya."
Oh well, yeah. I presume everyone there knows who he is.
Exactly.
Like
right.
it's a private club, right?
Yeah. Right. And he's been there and well respected for decades. These people are behaving like jerks, and I think they've been there for a couple of years at most. You know. Yeah, they're like, "We got that cab for you." It was a fun turn.
Deuces, guys. Yeah, no, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right.
Oh, look at that last page. That's lovely.
Yeah, that is cool.
Wow. All right. That's
all
it. Those are the comics for the week.
Very good.
Anything else we want to discuss before we get on out of here?
Continues to be cool.
The TV show Hawkeye. The 3rd episode is the best yet.
Yeah.
Yep. I got mine.
You got your Hawkeye hat on? That's cool. Doctor Who wrapped up. I thought pretty ably. This has been her best series yet, which is very good because I like her as a Doctor and I like seeing her in a good story.
I haven't watched any of this.
Yeah.
Yet the Flux stuff. I haven't watched any of it yet.
All right, right on. Yeah.
Where I think we still didn't finish season 12.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
Yeah.
but yeah,
All right.
it's
I'm very
Okay,
excited. We got our tickets. Oh, someone asked us earlier in the comments. I'm sorry, we didn't. I forgot to mention it. Someone asked if we got our Spider-Man tickets.
And you did.
Yes, we did.
Excellent. Wait, JD, I have a question for you. Do you know of any local movie theaters that are playing Batman Returns on December 19th?
Such a good question, Brian.
you.
real specific question too.
Yeah.
Very specific, much
I like to
my
have
favorite
specific
niche
exactly. Yeah.
of elderly spies who realize they only have 3 to 6 months to live, and so then
Yeah.
they decide to turn the tables. Very, very specific. Yes, at the Colonial Theater,
Yeah.
Theatre.
Oh, the metric spelling.
Yeah.
Excellent.
At the Colonial Theater, where they filmed the original Blob. Everyone runs out screaming out of the movie theater at the end of the Blob. That's the movie theater. The Colonial in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Also, I think Harry
December-
Houdini performed there once, or somebody
Oh.
of that, some vaudeville personality, or something like that. So whoever it was, they performed there.
Excellent addition. Thank
There
you
go.
for adding
You
that.
Got it. Yeah.
You have the
December
wiki up or
18th.
something.
No, I mean I'm from Phoenixville, so
Oh.
yeah.
December 18th, Saturday, December 18th. I'm sponsoring Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex is sponsoring Batman Returns on the big screen in 35 millimeter. And I'm also designing the poster for it, which will be for sale there. I'm hoping to have some stickers to sell there, some, Batman Returns related stickers.
Makes sense.
I might actually make some shirts as well. So yeah, come see Batman Returns, Phoenixville, PA, the Colonial Theater. If you need tickets, I'm selling them for $9. I've got 25 of them. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 of them. Although they are going quickly. So if you need them, let me know. Otherwise, you can get them at thecolonialtheater.com. And come hang out with us and see
snapped up
one of my
two
favorite
those.
one of my favorite Christmas movies, Batman Returns.
Indeed. Yeah, and you could meet at least
It's-
2 out of the 3 of the cult poppers in person.
That's true.
Play your
It's
cards
one of
right
my-
by purchasing these
it's-
tickets.
One of my favorite movies that inconsequentially features Christmas.
What are your other top 15 movies that
That inconsequentially feature Christmas.
Yeah,
Die
yeah.
Hard.
Yeah, excellent.
Inconsequentially features Christmas. Has nothing
Yeah.
to do with the plot, so I wouldn't call it a Christmas movie.
Sure.
Gremlins.
Right. Yeah. The
Uh,
second one, right?
Iron
Does the
Man
first one
3.
take place?
First
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Iron Man 3.
They both take place
Yeah.
at Christmas, right?
They both do.
What?
Do they? Both of
Ooh,
them.
Iron Man
movies?
3, that's a good one.
No,
Yeah.
Gremlins 2 does not take place during Christmas at all.
Does it not? They're just
Oh.
in a toy
It's
area.
in Clamp Towers. Like it's just fucking. It has nothing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do with it.
Land
yeah.
Towers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I guess I'm thinking of Home
Hawkeye.
Alone 2.
There you go.
yeah. Home Alone 2 is Christmas. How does this happen 2 years in a row? Oh, you're neglectful
Mhm.
parents. That's how. Yeah.
Mystery.
Anyway.
What about Edward Scissorhands?
That is a holiday
such
movie.
A large
That's,
span of
wait,
time.
hang on. That is a Christmas movie. It is a parable or allegory, or
Alright.
no, it's a parable about the origin of snow in Florida for the holiday. Like
Alright.
it's literally like a tall tale about
Oh, interesting.
holiday mythology.
I just
What about
rewatched that
Hawkeye?
today.
Hawkeye?
Yeah.
No,
So
it's
far.
not a like it's so movies that have the holiday as just an aesthetic.
Yeah.
They're not holiday movies. They're movies that feature a holiday. That's
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like
Does
narrative
it fit
rules,
onto
right?
your list? Your list of
Hawkeye? Well, I
Yeah,
mean, it's not over yet, but
I
yeah,
understand.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I like by the numbers, yeah, it
yeah.
inconsequentially features a holiday because his
Yeah.
drive is to, like, the deadline is to be home for
just
the
at that
holiday,
time.
like planes, trains, and
Right.
automobiles. But actually, that makes it a better case for the holiday anyway, because his entire narrative drive is to be home for Christmas. So
Yeah,
I
true,
would
true.
say that that's more of a holiday movie than Die Hard is, because you could replace any event that gets him to go into that state to see his wife for the first time since she took an out-of-state job, an award ceremony, a birthday, an acquisition. Like
That's true.
St. Patrick's
In
it
the
Day.
doesn't
scene-
have to be the holiday. at all.
The scene,
At all.
the scene where there's the guy in the elevator and he writes on his chest. He could be like, "Now I've got a machine gun. Gobble gobble gobble."
The ho 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 is it's a. You're right. The entire movie falls apart because of one visual gag.
No, I was
inconsequential.
literally agreeing with you. And
Gobble
maybe
gobble.
a joke on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would just write a different holiday boo.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I was
Happy
agreeing with
Bastille
you.
Day.
I didn't know. This is such a fucking hot take that people have been attacking me for the last week when I shared my opinion that yeah, I have a very long and intense social media thread about it where I was just like, hey, hot take, I think that these are genre movies that just feature or aesthetically have a holiday included. They are not holiday movies because the narrative has nothing to do with the mythology and or seasonal holiday. It's just it happens that time of year. That's like saying any movie with air conditioning is a summer movie. No, it's a movie that has the aesthetic of heat in it. They're different things. So I was going back and forth, and some people were just like, Die Hard wouldn't fucking exist if it wasn't for Christmas. I'm like, how do you figure? He was there for Christmas. I'm like, replace it with any event he'd have to travel out of state for.
Yeah.
And the movie still
was there
functions.
for a meeting.
It still functions. What about all the people in the building? I'm like, they're in the building. You could literally come up with any other reason. Now, if he was saving a Santa taken hostage, it's a holiday movie now because it literally has to do saving the holiday has to do with the rest of the movie. It's Mars Comics, any movie with a rabbit is an Easter movie. Yeah, I mean, it's the same logic. It doesn't make any sense at all. I wouldn't make it. So Batman Returns was a movie that kind of blurred the lines for me. So it's technically just a genre movie that features the aesthetic of the holiday. However, there's a bunch of plot threads that explicitly reference and have to do with seasonal mythology or holiday mythology, including consumerism, including there was a couple of them we were hitting them off one by one. So Batman Returns is the closest to being an actual Christmas movie, than way closer than Die Hard and Gremlins, and actually Gremlins was pretty close too. But still, oh, also this hot take does include. I think that you should watch these movies during the season. That's what the aesthetic is for.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it a holiday movie. It just makes you
just not everything that you do during the December holiday season is intrinsically related to the fact that it's Christmas around that time. But it is happening in the background. It's an aesthetic. Somebody had shared too. Apparently, there's a whole iceberg of this. It's a tiered list. There's a level 1 holiday movie, level 2 holiday movie, level 3, level 4, level 5. And by level 5, it's just the movies that you want to watch during the holidays. So the Lord of the Rings trilogy is a level 5 holiday movie. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's not just me.
I literally put on Lord of the Rings the other day, and I thought I was the only one who was for some reason in December, I kind of want to watch Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Star Wars I get because it was for a couple of years there, it was they were coming out in December.
Also, it's those are mythological tales, and Christmas is a time of
also honestly too. I think it's a lot more logistical than that. They are long, involved movies. They played on TV a lot. It was when you were out of school or off work that you would just kind of accidentally come across a fucking marathon of Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. It's so it's really also kind of cultural. It's people associate Wizard of Oz with Christmas Day because for decades it played on ABC on Christmas, one of the major holidays.
I didn't know about that.
ABC or NBC just always played Wizard of Oz on this night. Yeah, same with Ten Commandments was Easter, and
should have been
yeah, that's my hot take. Sorry, we
gotta
go.
I have two questions. Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I mean, go ahead. What's up?
I had two questions about Edward Scissorhands. I just revisited that today, and it never occurred to me. There's two funny things that occurred to me. I can remember one of them. One of them is at the end, you've got what's his name from the Breakfast Club, the bully,
Anthony Michael Hall.
Evil dies tonight. you've got Evil Dies Tonight, and they chase Edward Scissorhands up to his house, and Edward Scissorhands, he starts beating on Lydia Dietz, and so Edward just fucking just hits him right in that, and they push him out the window, and the guy falls and he dies, and it's very made very clear that the guy's father is a piece of shit, and they're rich and powerful and all this other stuff. And so in order to keep the townspeople from bothering Edward, she brings out another one of another one of the Edward Scissorhand things, right? To be like, oh, the roof fell in on him and he died. See, here's another one of his hands that I just took off a shelf. That's proof. Nobody goes in, like the police who are part of the story. We see he gets arrested earlier in the film. They don't come to collect the kid's body and like put up a crime scene and actually look for the corpse of Eddie Scissorhands. Drives me nuts.
All right.
You're just like, yes, the bully is dead. Edward gets to live in peace up at the hill, and no one asks any questions.
It's a parable.
Yeah.
It's a parable.
Yeah.
Like all of the creation myths would have ended if you actually scrutinized, like, well, how come nobody investigated that for the 200 years later? What's happening? Yeah, like how come somebody didn't just take it back? Yeah, like they all fall apart. It's just
there's movies out there that drive me nuts when it comes to that sort of thing. Like I couldn't tell you a single one of them right now, but growing up, it would be like the guy was framed for murder, and then he got the guy who framed him for murder, but at no point is there any evidence for him to present to the police that he is not still the murderer. It just looks like he murdered another guy, but he goes free. And I'm like,
right.
It's just, you murdered the murderer, and now still no one knows that you're not the murderer, but you're free to go, sir. I'm like, when the police get here, they're still going to arrest you, dude. It's like, it's a Christmas miracle. Mark says it's a Christmas miracle. That's why Edward Scissorhands gets to go free.
Super holiday movie. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great movie. God, old Tim Burton, original Tim Burton was awesome.
Yeah,
Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas. What's the other big one?
Beetlejuice. Also very good.
Yeah. God.
Yeah.
And now he just, I don't know. He doesn't have any style anymore. What's that?
I never saw Sweeney Todd, but I loved the play, and I've always wanted to see the movie.
Yeah, I would say check it out.
Yeah.
All right, Noel's got to get out of here, and I got to do my orders.
All
Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We will see you next. Will we see you next Monday? Am I still in the Poconos? I don't know. We'll probably still see you next Monday at 9 o'clock. Same bad time, same bad channel. Love you.
We'll let
see
you know.
later.